Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Okky Rachmadi. I am the managing partner of Rach, Handoyo and Partners. Today I'm going to present to you my view on the latest issues, a very concerning issues on the presidential threshold. My presentations will be titled Presidential Threshold, Indonesian Fake Democracy. Demos kratos are two words originally constructing democracy as we know it today. Demos, or the people, and kratos, or to govern, or to rule. But these two words itself are to be considered as unrealistic, as the history has proven that these words were nothing more than a lullaby used by the ruling class to maintain their position of power, dominations over the people in the name of the people. This accusation might sound harsh and even threatening the peace of the system that has been promoted for so long by the Western countries. But to be able to understand the true meaning of democracy, then we need to understand the reality of the version of democracy which our beloved country, Indonesia, is currently implementing. To be fair, nothing is wrong with democracy. It is probably the most beautiful dream to be realized and achieved by most of the country in the world. Dream. The people are governing the country to decide and engineer the future of their own country. Why most of the countries and not to be generalized as for all countries? Because we cannot force a society to implement and adopt any foreign value not suitable to theirs. When our former President Sukarno declared the independence of Indonesia, he has clearly stated that the declarations was performed in the name of the people of Indonesia. The question is, which people does he represent? Again, to be fair, most of the Indonesians at that time cannot even write and read, let alone to understand the meaning of a country, and to be more precise, a democratic republican country. All part of ancient societies in the world, either they were in the form of tribes or a kingdom, have their own ruling class. The ruling classes were consisted of the few whom possessed the power to dominate, to dictate the weak and non-privileged. This is a fact, a reality. In this modern world, where imperialism has been transformed into parliamentary, presidential system, and so on, the dominations of power prevail. After the fall of Suharto, the time of reformation arises. The word reformation, implicitly and explicitly understood by the people as a changing to a better future by the people. Well, actually, reformation is to be understood as a change of formation, a power shifting to a new kind of dominator, either the good one or the worse. Presidential threshold is bound by the political party representation system in Indonesian democracy. A political party representation system. It is supposedly people representation system. But the fact is, the legislatures are representing their political party's interests. Even the word fraction is used explicitly to identify on which party does a legislator resides. This is clearly a deviation and strange way to implement on what the law number 17 of 2014 on legislatures has provided. It is an obligation of a legislator to precede the interests of the people and the country over his or her personal interests and or the interests of certain groups, including his or her political parties. Presidential threshold is a game of power to circumcise the substantive rights of the people, to be treated equally in front of the law, to be acknowledged of their rights to elect and to be elected as a president, a constitutional right. This is just another game of domination. They are playing with voting and numbers. Political parties which dominated the seats get to decide the individuals whom will compete in the next stage of the game of domination as the candidates for presidency. The questions are, first, for whom will a president of Indonesia work for? The second, if the president will act on behalf and for the good of the people and the country, and not for the interests of a certain political parties or group of bourgeois. Why is he or she can only be recommended by the dominating political parties? The third, are the candidates recommended by non-dominating political parties has less nationalism, patriotism, and capability to perform as a president of Indonesia? The fourth questions and the last. If these so-called political parties are acting based on nationalism, patriotism to our beloved country and countrymen, aren't they supposedly supporting any person whom truly has the potential to perform the duties of a president, embedding the hope of the people of Indonesia for a better future despite of his or her political orientation? Law number 42 of 2008 contains a provision representing fake democracy, presidential threshold, which as fake as the theory of social contract by Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, and Rawls, with their claims on how the society deliberately and gracefully surrendered their rights to be ruled. To regulate the presidential threshold as a law proves that the law can be used as a tool of social control by the dominator. And it also can be used as a tool of social engineering, also by the dominator, and as a tool of bureaucratic reformation to be compatible with the interests of the ruling class. To uphold the Constitution is to restrain the laws which were created by the dominators. As the people, we need to ensure that the Constitution will prevail for the sake of our nation and country from the imminent threats coming from our own dominating countrymen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I hope that my presentations will give a good value for our countrymen and our country.